The story begins with a knight attending a martial arts tournament, usually held every 10 years, to compete for the title of the strongest warrior. For 150 years, no human has become a champion. But this time, the knight Peter Grill made it to the final round. He risked everything in the fight to give victory to his girlfriend. Although Peter won, he still didn't realize how cruel the world was. After the fight, Peter walked across the city to meet the girl. But on the way, he met Mimi, the ogre race girl who was a fellow member of his guild. After seeing his growing fame and strength, Mimi asked Peter to give her seed. It turns out that the ogre race has a top priority to get offspring from the strongest person. In theory, Peter is now the strongest person in the world. Even so good, Peter denies that the customs of the ogre race do not apply to him, so he doesn't want to do it. Then her sister Lisa came along, another ogre girl who wanted him just as much as her sister. They begged for Peter's seed, but Peter quickly fled. Peter headed to a church to meet his girlfriend, Lovelia. Peter and she had been dating for 2 years, but due to her father's misguided upbringing from that moronic guild leader, they hadn't done anything but hold hands. With Peter's new status as the strongest person, her father had no choice but to accept that they would get married and have children. When asked how to make a baby, her childlike response was that the child was delivered to the cabbage field by a child-giving bird. Peter didn't know what to do because of how innocent Lovelia was. When Peter got to his room, he found Mimi with Lisa. Even so, he didn't fall for the temptation as a loyal man who respects himself finally threw her out. However, they were making a ruckus here to the point of disturbing others. Peter had no choice but to bring them into his room. Lisa put his hand into the dough. With this, Peter was hesitant and questioned whether he should do it. He tried not to succumb to temptation, but when Mimi joined, it exceeded his endurance capacity. Finally, Peter fell and succumbed to temptation. In the morning, Peter cried and regretted being so easily provoked by temptation. Suddenly, someone knocked on his door, and it turned out to be his beloved fiancée, Lovelia. Peter immediately threw the 2 girls into his closet and asked them to hide there. When Peter opened the door, he was sweating in his underwear while arguing that he was doing sports. Lovelia planned to tell her father about her engagement. Peter was surprised that his happiness had finally arrived. Unfortunately, it didn't happen because her father was against the marriage. In the past, her father had promised to approve their relationship as long as Peter earned the title of the strongest warrior in the world. Now that Peter has managed to get it, if her father does not accept their relationship, Lovelia is ready to break up with him and leave home. Imagining his beloved daughter leaving his side, he had to agree to their marriage. After that, they prepared to celebrate their engagement and Peter's victory in the tournament. Peter felt happy and felt guilty about his affair with the ogre sisters. While Peter was thinking about all that, the ogre girl came to congratulate him on his engagement, though the congratulations turned into blackmail. Peter thought they would leave him alone with that commitment, but they took advantage of that. They proposed an agreement for him to keep giving them more seeds until he got pregnant in exchange for them not saying anything about what happened. They were half naked at the place. The ogres got intense and tried to do it there. Peter rushed to hide the girls under the table. He tried to talk calmly so that Lovelia would not suspect him. But things got complicated when her father arrived and asked for a chair to speak alone with his daughter. With that, poor Peter became a mess. All he had to do was think about how to get out of that situation without disrespect. Peter found the solution. He clarified that he would never leave Lovelia's side, making her blush. Lovelia rebuked him and asked her father to leave the place. That way, Lovelia and Peter could talk quietly, but the conversation became complicated as the ogre girl under the table blocked his concentration. While Peter was alone, the ogre girl finally persuaded Peter to continue their relationship. Peter tried to resist and told himself that he had to be loyal. He was thinking of his fiancée, but unfortunately, Peter fell into temptation. F's comment for Peter. After that, Peter had a dream where he managed to make Lovelia understand how to make a baby. As delicious as the dream was to make happiness reach its maximum, it suddenly turned into a nightmare when the figure of his father-in-law appeared in front of him. When he woke up, he realized a young blonde girl was in his bed. Peter thought she was a thief, so he tried to catch her. A man hearing the screams tried to see what was happening. He was surprised to see Peter cheating on him with another girl, so he quickly left, and as a good friend, he wouldn't tell anyone. Peter didn't know that the thief was a young girl, and as usual, Peter always caused misunderstandings. The young girl introduced herself as an elven ambassador named Vegan from the land of the elves. Her goal was to find the seed needed by her race to increase their strength. Although they had a high status as warriors and a feared race, they lost in the strongest warrior tournament. Hence, she wanted to turn things around by getting Peter's seed and a strong descendant. Peter wouldn't mind giving his seed to a cute girl like her, but unfortunately, his elephant wasn't interested in her. It offended her so much that she cast a spell on the elephant. After casting the spell, Vegan left immediately from there. On the other hand, Luvilia went hunting with her personal bodyguard, and they met a terrible creature on the way. The monster devoured men and played with all the women with its tentacles. Peter received word that the monster had ambushed his beloved Luvilia, so he immediately set out to save his beloved from the obscene monster. Luvilia summoned the courage to attack the monster. Unfortunately, she was caught by the tentacles, and just as she was about to lose her chastity, Peter annihilated the monster. Everyone was amazed by the power of the strongest warrior in the world. At the same time, the ogre girl witnessed the fight. They were very confident that Peter's seed would revolutionize their race. After that, Peter went to the bathhouse. He relaxed there, but his elephant kept waking up completely. Peter thought it was caused by the previous spell, and Vegan confirmed it was her doing. Vegan explains that if the spell is not removed, the elephant will be completely useless. More precisely, it will die. Vegan would release it as long as he begged her and gave her the seed. Peter faces challenges and difficulties again. He falls victim to a girl who only wants to utilize his powers and not his love. Things get worse because next door is Luvilia. Luvilia tells a legend about this hot spring. Those who use it will be blessed to have children. Therefore, Luvilia invited Peter to meet her and test the effect of the hot spring together. In the past 2 years, their relationship has not progressed beyond holding hands. Of course, this is an opportunity to move on to the next stage, but the problem is that his elephant is on the verge of a violent explosion. Not wanting to hurt Luvilia, Peter reluctantly declined her invitation. Peter decides to give up and goes to Vegan to get his freedom. Once again, Peter has fallen completely. F comment for Peter.
茶番は終わりじゃ。俺は決して裏切りなんかじゃない。これは俺と先輩の未来を守るためでもある。なかなかの手前であったぞ。
Luvilia's father was sad when he saw his beloved daughter taken by Peter. He always thought of traps that could end their relationship. Then he got a letter from the Orc Kingdom, and they asked for Peter's seed. Luvilia firmly refused it, but her father said that the request came from an important person who had a good relationship with them and a trade agreement. Having received great contributions from them, they should honor their request. Luvilia's father asked them not to worry as he believed that Peter could withstand the temptation of other girls. Luvilia also agreed, believing that the loyal Peter would not betray her. Then the orc nobleman arrived, seeing that the orc character was not the most attractive. This motivated Peter because that way, he would not be tempted and believed that the obstacle would be very easy this time. But to his surprise, the girl was a beautiful orc named Piglet. He was confident that his plan would work and decided to leave them alone. As they wandered around the city together, Piglet said this was her first time talking to a man. Piglet is a shy girl and a simple servant. Due to political interests, she was forced into marriage. Peter understood that she was completely different from other girls. She didn't come for the sake of seed, and it was the bastard nobles who were at fault. Luvilia's father had many plans for Piglet to fall in love with Peter. He hired 3 thugs and tried to harass Piglet. Peter immediately saved her and beat up the 3 thugs. Piglet thanks Peter for saving her ugly self. Peter emphasizes that she is not ugly but cute, making her blush. After enjoying the day together, they had dinner together, and the nobleman asked if their relationship had gotten any closer. Peter firmly ended the joke they made and wanted to leave immediately. However, everyone insists they spend the night together. They even put something in Piglet's drink. That way, the 2 of them were left alone. With everything starting to get complicated again, Peter could not do anything about Piglet's every action. Peter was very sorry for himself for not being able to win against the boobs. If Luvilia's father learned about this, he would be killed. Therefore, Peter had to force Piglet not to tell what happened. Peter forces her to do the most important thing in her life rather than be a puppet controlled by a bastard aristocrat. This led Piglet to discover her long-lost desires. When they meet Luvilia's father with the orc nobles, Piglet says Peter remains steadfast and does nothing. Peter was granted an extraordinary miracle, but it wasn't over yet. Piglet decided to stay there with Peter to build a relationship for the future of the orc kingdom. Her determination amazed everyone, but it was the first step in her plan. It turns out that Piglet intends to conceive a child that inherits Peter's powers, to create the strongest warrior son and destroy the pigs of the orc kingdom that have made her miserable. Peter had no idea that he might have awakened the dark side of a terrible monster. Then, all the girls gathered in Peter's room to look for seeds. They were surprised that many girls were eyeing Peter's seeds. Lisa devised a brilliant idea to avoid a fight. They competed, using their bodies to see who could turn Peter on the most. The first participant was the ogres, who, with their prowess, achieved a score of 91. The second participant was the elf, who achieved a disastrous score of 3 because she had a flat chest. While Piglet scored 91, walking around wearing a naked apron is every man's dream. Their quarrel intensified. Peter wanted to stop it but didn't know what to do. Then his friend suggested he use alcohol. They started drinking, and for a while, they managed to get along without insulting each other. After a few minutes, they started trying to get Peter to drink more alcohol so that he would get drunk so that they could suck his seed. Peter's measure of happiness increased so much that he lost consciousness. The next day, Peter does not remember what happened last night and regrets betraying his beloved Luvilia. The girls began to argue and officially agreed on the division of seeds between races. By agreement, Peter had to do the cruel daily routine every day. After going through that, he finally rested. Of course, that day, Peter planned a date with his beloved girl. The two of them went to a restaurant and talked about the quietest things, even the past story of how their relationship was formed. Unfortunately, the excitement didn't last long after Peter saw Mimi the ogre girl passing around. Poor Peter's face changed completely. He went from joy to terror. Mimi couldn't keep the secret between them. She almost said her relationship with Peter right before Luvilia. So Peter took her to the bathroom and asked her to leave. The way to get her to leave Peter is to do it one time with her so that she doesn't interrupt his date with Luvilia again. Vegan was also there when he returned, so the same cycle repeated itself, and poor Peter didn't even survive his day off. Meanwhile, Luvilia never suspected anything. She thought Peter had a good relationship with the girls. Luvilia's innocence was extreme. Luvilia briefly remembered the wound on Peter's hand. It was the beginning of their relationship. The chaotic date finally ended, and Peter drove Luvilia to her place. Peter took a break in the bathroom, where he regretted everything he had done. He felt guilty for not getting a proper date. Good Peter decided to leave that day, but along the way, something inside him still refused to leave everything he had built. He couldn't leave his affection for Luvilia and wanted to always protect her. In the rain, he met an ogre warrior named Spartokos. He gave Peter a lot of advice and explained that he had struggled for 3 years to find the girl who had captured his heart. After traveling, he discovered the girl was a guild member, just like Peter. Out of curiosity, Peter asked the girl's name, and it turned out that the girl was an ogre princess named Lisa. Peter was dumbfounded to know that the ogre girl who always squeezed his seed was a princess. Peter immediately went to Lisa to confirm the information because she couldn't hide her identity. Lisa finally accepted that she was a princess. Even so, Peter didn't have to worry because she was just looking for a seed. After she got pregnant, she would return to the ogre kingdom. To increase the chances of getting pregnant, Lisa threw herself on Peter to do what they had to do. At the same time, Spartokos found out where he could find Lisa, so he immediately went looking for her. When he arrived, he heard Lisa's voice in the room, so without hesitation he went in there and found his beloved girl with Peter. His anger exploded, and he immediately lunged at him. He accused Peter of wanting to take advantage of the princess. Peter had no weapons and had no choice but to use bananas to withstand all his attacks. As the fight intensified, Lisa yelled at him, giving him the order to stop. Although hatred overcame him, he could not refuse a direct order from the princess. After that, Lisa explained the situation to him, including how she left the ogre kingdom searching for a strong man. When she got there, she found Peter, the strongest man in the world. As a warrior, Lisa wanted to contribute to the evolution of her race to have a seed and obtain a child with the strongest warrior. This disappointed Spartacus, but Lisa strongly argued that everyone in the Ogre Kingdom was weaker than her. She was dissatisfied with the men there and left the kingdom. Spartacus took this as an opportunity. He said he had practiced his skills for years to earn her respect, so he challenged Peter to a duel. If he wins, he proves that his seed is worthy of being the successor to the Ogre Nation. Peter thought if he won, everything would stay the same, but if he lost, it would make Lisa possibly choose Spartacus and return to her hometown. So, the obstacles that plagued his relationship with Luvilia would be one less. Peter smiled because it was a win-win solution. Then Lisa approaches him and whispers in his ear that if he deliberately gives in, then Mimi will tell Luvilia about his affair. Spartacus showed admirable determination and told him he regretted their conversation. He would do everything to win for his beloved girl. The audience present while listening to him was amazed. He was still a virgin, and his determination to face a duel with the strongest warrior in the world. The crowd murmured for Peter to let him win, although it was what he wanted for obvious reasons. He could not do so, so he simply launched an attack and quickly finished him off. With this, Lisa stated that she wasn't interested in weaklings, yet Spartacus begged constantly to give him one last chance. Lisa accepted, but on the new condition that he face her in a fight. Lisa gave him a week to prepare, and Spartacus used the opportunity to become Peter's apprentice. Peter didn't want to do it initially because it was too much trouble, but Vegan and Piglet advised Peter to accept him as a student. If he managed to train Spartacus to be stronger and defeat Lisa, Lisa would return to her hometown. Peter finally accepted, and they trained him all week. Vegan even prepared a black magic spell that increased his muscles and strength. While receiving training from Peter, a receptionist girl named Michi always brings him food. Peter and Piglet realized that she was in love with Spartacus. The day of the fight had arrived. Spartacus' skills have improved significantly thanks to training, and he is evenly matched with Lisa. Unfortunately, Spartacus was too focused on Lisa's body. As a result, as long as he looked at her body, he struggled to concentrate while fighting. Knowing this, Peter despaired and said that the fight was over. Lisa ended the fight, but everyone reproached her for her actions. Peter felt sorry for Spartacus because his disciplined life had been in vain. When he wakes up, Spartacus cries, realizing he has lost again. Peter tried to console him and find a solution so Spartacus could overcome his weakness. The reason Spartacus lost was because he was too weak against female charm. Then Michi came to see them, and instantly, Peter found a way to solve his problem. Peter talks to him and explains that Michi is crazy about muscles. With his muscles, Spartacus should be able to win her heart easily. If Spartacus gets used to the female body, his concentration in the fight against Lisa will no longer be disturbed. Spartacus realized that everything he said made sense, so maybe he should put aside his obsession with Lisa. Michi listened to everything, and since she was in love with him, she approached him and told him she cared about him, too. Seeing that Spartacus was able to find his new love, Peter left with a smile on his face. The next day, they finally became a happy couple. Spartacus felt that the burden on his shoulders had been lifted and no longer cared about Lisa. He should have been able to defeat Lisa by now, but Spartacus refused, leaving Peter surprised and upset that his plan didn't work. Spartacus has no intention of bringing Lisa home and wants to focus on a romantic relationship with Michi. Lisa came to thank him for helping Spartacus. With this, he could focus more on becoming the best warrior of the Ogre Kingdom. Then Lisa said that if Peter was serious about their relationship, then Peter might be able to become king of the Ogre Kingdom. Lisa left there and asked him to think about it carefully. After that, Luvilia came, delivering information that the goblin invasion had begun. They got a request for help, so they immediately went there. Peter promises to protect Luvilia no matter what, and after this mission ends, they want to take a vacation to a distant place so that no one interferes with their relationship. At the same time, other girls follow them, and they realize that Peter's affection for Luvilia is quite high, but they can overcome it and get the seed. And that is the end of the video. Remember to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.